victory at Syracuse. It is the culmination of a lifetime of hopes and dreams. It is the moment in which the victor rises above his peers, towering over his sport. But this Moody Mile bestows no grace. It can turn in an instant, bringing even its favored to their knees. Today, the hopeful return, risking the wrath of the Moody Mile to live the dreams of a lifetime. It's the Eckerd 200. Next. On Speed.
Welcome to the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. Today, it's the richest race on dirt, the 32nd running of the Eckerd 200. Hello once again, everybody. I'm Doug Logan along with Speed's Rick Benjamin. What a spectacle of speed we have for you today. The Eckerd 200 is dirt motorsports version of Indianapolis and Daytona. And Rick, much like those great races, the Eckerd 200 has great history and tradition.
Sure does. The 32nd renewal of this event. This is really a race that can make a driver's career, and if you've had a difficult season, you can salvage it with a win here today. $100,000 to the winner.
Now, racing through the decades has been based around fairgrounds. Thus, we're here today for the Eckerd 200. But this one-mile racetrack, nicknamed the Moody Mile, is unlike anything else our speedsters tackle during the season.
Biggest racetrack by far that these dirt stars compete on over the course of the year. Tons of history here. The other thing I think that's interesting about this event, this is such a family-based sport. You have fathers and sons, brothers racing against one another. Makes it very, very interesting.
With more on our Moody Mile racetrack, let's go down to Mark Kenyon.
Syracuse, the Moody Mile. This is one of the trickiest tracks, if not the trickiest track we race on. Super fast. Getting in this show, that's the important spot. It can be won from anywhere in the field. It's been won from 42nd, from 49th spot. The backstretch. You know how many modifieds have met their demise on the backstretch? Last year we piled them up. The backstretch is very, very dangerous, very treacherous. The wind buffets you, you move around. This is one tricky place. She's a lady. She may kiss you, she may bite you on the neck. Andy?
3 of the last 5 years at Syracuse, this car has carried Billy Decker to victory lane in the Eckerd 200. What's your secret?
Well, there's no secret. It's just a product of surrounding yourself with good people, good equipment, and getting good results.
Now, a lot of guys have expressed concern this week about aerodynamics. You're going faster than you ever have here at Syracuse. You set a brand new track record, not only 1 day, but 2 days here. I see a lot of aerodynamic additions to your car. What's the big fear about running in dirty air here?
Well, dirty air, you just primarily get an aero push, and that's something that the staff at Bignell and this Ross Motorsports crew has worked on avoiding, and hopefully we can avoid that by running clean air as often as we can. But we just want to keep the car clean and be around at the end.
And what he means by clean air, guys, is he's on the pole.
We're set to go racing at the New York State Fairgrounds. The Eckerd 200 is coming your way next. New York State Fairgrounds, we are seconds away from the green flag flying on the richest race in dirt, the Eckerd 200. Doug Logan along with Rick Benjamin, and we have absolutely ideal conditions for race day. Look at this, temperature 74 degrees. The forecast is clear. As for our race analysis, 46 cars will start this race, 200 laps, $360,000. The purse in this contest. How about our track description?
Well, it's a mile, of course. Talk about the Moody Mile. Basically flat, just enough bank in the corners to let the rain run off if we should get some. Straightaways are a quarter-mile in length, and this is a hard clay surface.
Let's go down to Andy Fusco for those famous words.
Before a packed audience here at Syracuse and millions more at home on Speed, the partners from Coca-Cola and Eckerd drugstores with the magical words in auto racing.
Gentlemen, start your engines!
The engines roar to life in the pits, and the cars are in motion. What an electric moment.
One of the great moments, certainly in racing, as As we prepare to see the big block dirt modifieds do battle 200 times around the distance at this mile racetrack. It's an endurance test, it's a test of speed, and certainly a test of strategy, Doug.
As the racers head on to our 1 mile Moody Mile course here at the New York State Fairgrounds, let's get a track condition from Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here on the track. This is the fastest this 100-year-old speedway has ever been. 28-second laps, 29-second laps, 27 of them the other day. It's been sunny, it's been hot. The track is hard, slick, and fast. Will it break up in 1 and 2? Probably. Will a hole develop down in 3? Let me take you around a lap of this place just so you know what it's like, what it feels like from the driver's seat. You blow down into 1 here. It's nice and wide, up on the high side, but you gotta pull it down, because as you come through that tricky turn number 2, you're flying. You come off the backstretch, the car gets sucked out to the wall. The backstretch is narrow. The wind will buffet you. The car will turn left and right. Down the backstretch, down into 3 you go. There's always a hole there. Don't ask me why it was there. When I raced here, it's still there. It's going to develop. A hole developed there, upsets the car. You're going 145 miles an hour. Set the car, get it under you, come through 3 and 4. Coming off of 4, big and wide. Swing up to the wall and then cross the guy over and try to get a run into 2. This place is wicked fast and wicked fun to drive.
Certainly the highest speeds we will see throughout the entire dirt season.
Here's the starting lineup. Billy Decker on the pole. Brett Hearn is a 5-time winner. He's making his 7th front row start, but first on the outside.
Second row, David Eckerd from St. Damo, Quebec, in car number 1H. Second career start here. Tim Fuller in the M1 goes fourth. He's from Edwards, New York. He's the 358 series points leader.
On to row 3, number 47, Scott Prentice, and outside him, the number 1, 2-time winner, Alan Johnson.
Row 4, the 32C, that's Vic Coffey, last year's champion here from Leicester, New York. Steve Poirier from Quebec, Canada, in the 28. He's the modified champ up at Drummond Speedway.
Row 5, Danny Johnson won this event back in 1997. Chris Schultz is outside wearing the number 24.
Sixth row, Steve Payne, the Hurricane from Waterloo, New York, in the 7X. The Mr. Dirt champion 3 years ago. Outside, Jimmy Horton from the Shannock Station, New Jersey, in the 27. 2-time winner here, former Winston Cup star.
On to row 7, Dirt's winningest big block driver in 03, Tim McCready in the 39. Outside, Frank Cozy, he's a veteran.
8th row, 12A, Jumpin' Jack Johnson from Duanesburg, New York, 2-time winner of this race, 79 and 1984. Young Andy Bicchetti from Great Barrington, Massachusetts, in the 21. Jack Johnson's son-in-law alongside.
Row 9, the 57 of Donnie Corellis, and the 15R of Donnie Rad.
In the 10th row, Eddie Marshall from Pound Ridge, New York, regular at Lebanon Valley in the 98. The 88 of Steve Hulsizer from Brewerton, New York.
Row 11, Jerry Higby, and there's our 1986 winner, Barefoot Bob McCready out of Watertown.
12th row, the 9S, young Matt Shepard, the 358 winner here 1 day ago from Waterloo, New York. And in the 62R, Ron Smoker, he's from Hamburg, New York.
Row 13 comprised Jimmy Chester and Bud Chrisman.
19th back in the 14th row, the 19 of Kenny Brightville from Pennsylvania. Pat Ward from Genoa, New York, in the 42P.
Gary Tompkins and Chuck Keating make up row 15.
Butch Tittle and Chuck Bauer, the 16th row.
On to number 17, Todd Stewart and Doug Manmiller.
18th row is Alton Palmer, Dave Burdick in the 61.
Row 19, Vince Vitale and Mike Perotti.
In the 20th row, Tom Sears from Clay, Kenny Tremont from West Sand Lake in the 115.
Row 21, David Van Horn and Kevin Bolin.
And the 22nd row, J.R. Hefner in the 14J, Bobby Barron in the 6 car.
On to row 23, there's J.J. Yaley and Pierre A. Bear. 46 cars.
1 lap till green. We say that in unison because we're expecting to see all 46 of these drivers really put on a show that we have seen nothing like the rest of the season here in Dirt Motorsports. Packed house today. It's been in the 70s here all week. Doug, last time you and I were here together 2 years ago, it snowed on Sunday.
This is once in every 2 decades we have weather like this, and it's just absolutely beautiful for race day. And there's a majestic look at the field swinging out of turn 2 and down the back straightaway.
Great field of cars. All the big stars, of course, are in attendance. Drivers representing a lot of different states and Canada, and many wins, not just on the regular speedways, the 28 that make up the Dirt Tour in the Northeast, but here at the Moody Mile. Great racetrack, 100 years of history here. We're about to see some history made this afternoon.
8 Eckerd 200 wins in that front row. Billy Decker's won 3 of the last 5 years. Brett Hearn, a 5-time winner. And these veterans lead this field of 46 down the front straightaway. The green flag is out, and the 19
1 car around.
2003 Eckerd 200 is underway. We have a spin.
I think that might be David Hebert in the one, making his second start. Jimmy Horton, Bob McCready caught up in it up in turn 4. The yellow will wave immediately. Now the caution laps will count right up until the final 2, which must be run under green. But a couple of drivers we thought would come up through the field and be factors here, caught up in a spin and a skirmish before we even see the green flag.
Looked like Horton went hard into the wall, and his car is in bad shape. Hebert is the man who spun from the 3rd spot.
Second time here, very fast all week. Barefoot Bob McCready pulls away in the 9 car. Looks as though he'll be okay. But Jimmy Horton's 27 car, the 61 of Dave Murdoch, suffering some heavy damage to the right side of that car. So Murdoch will certainly have to come to pit road. Tim Fuller through safely. And there's Danny Johnson in the 27J. The rest of the field getting by. So the lap count apparently does start now. 1 lap goes up on the board. And we will make sure that it will not be a complete restart. But a wild way to start the Eckerd 200, huh?
Oh, my goodness gracious. And Hebert, who qualified 7th and started up front last season, last year, struggled coming out of turn 4 as they put the hammer down.
Jimmy Horton's car with some badly damaged parts in the front end. You can see the wheels are broken. The axle and the front side of the car is not straight at all. Looks as though he's got some damage on the back end of the race car as well. And just like yesterday in the 358 modified show, Horton's 27 car had to be lifted up on the hook and carried into the garage area. Looks like the same thing will be the case here today. Here's another look as they come off turn 4, and you can see the one of Hebert starting inside row 2. He's crossed up before he even gets to the corner.
Now watch Horton. Has to make a right turn right there. Bam, into the wall. Look at that. Front end first.
Bob McCready, I think, in the dust, just slammed on the brakes. Little bit of contact further back there. That's McCready's 9 car. He tagged the back end of Horton's machine, and then Dave Murdoch in the 61 got into the back end of that as well. So 4 cars involved. It could have been much worse. When a guy up front of a 46-car field spins like that, you certainly could have a huge hit.
Look at that. There's Hebert spinning.
Now, if this were asphalt, you would say that was cold tires. You would say that he squeezed the gas too hard before the tires were warmed up. On dirt, I'm not sure that's much of a factor.
But it does point out these cars have about 800 horsepower. When you put that hammer down, you better be hanging on. And this track, it's got a lot of rubber on it.
It certainly does. After 250 miles of racing earlier in the weekend, plus the qualifying races, probably 400 miles of racing altogether, plus a lot of practice and the qualifying laps. So you'd think there'd be plenty of grip.
Statistician Kevin Kovac says no laps completed. We will have a complete restart. We'll be back to the New York State Fairgrounds after this. Doug Logan along with Rick Benjamin, and you have a look at Jimmy Horton's car being towed off the track here after he hit the turn out of turn 4 very, very hard. Look at how that car is ripped apart.
He's diamonded the chassis in that car. It wasn't just the front end that was broken. So that's 2 cars they've taken out of here on the hook like that this weekend.
Let's head down to Andy Fusco.
Thanks. I'm down here in turn 4. What looked to happen was that David Hebert got collected from behind, so to speak. Jimmy Horton's always called Syracuse the Black Cat. Well, the Black Cat just bit again because Horton was the victim of circumstance. He had no place to go. Now, they gave the white already to restart the field, but I don't think that's going to happen because if you look over here, there's an awful lot of oil still left on turn 4 from the Horton number 27.
Well, now they are showing 1 lap in the books, and they are showing Brett Hearn as the leader. So does that mean this is going to be a heads-up start, or are we going to go side by side? They got Billy Decker moving in now, and we'll see from the official scorers.
Pace truck
will be side by side.
With the pace truck back out, I had the feeling it was going to be another complete restart. We certainly didn't complete a lap under green, but we will see what the ruling is from timing and scoring here. Pace truck picking up the speed as he goes through 3, and it'll be Hearn and Decker once again on the front row.
And Hearn fires first, and Hearn leads the pack into turn 4 and down the front straightaway, and we are back under green. Let's see if we can complete 1 lap. Visibility is so tough in turn 4.
All the running that has happened here already today. Watching Kenny Brightville in the goal number 19 on the high side. Hearn the early leader. Decker runs in 2nd spot. Tim Fuller in the M1 moving to 3rd. Good start for Fuller.
Everybody in the back straightaway into turn 3 now, looking like they're behaving themselves. And here's the corporate jet. Brett Hearn down the front straightaway leading the pack.
Hearn all alone out in front. Everybody trying to get to the inside. We saw it here yesterday, Doug, in the 358 series event, that the bottom is certainly the place to be, at least until we start to see some ruts develop on the inside. There's the 19 of Brightville. Hearn is your leader in the 3. Second spot, Decker in the 91. Fuller runs along in 3rd. And then Alan Johnson in the yellow number 1. He was so strong in the 358 event earlier this weekend. Led past halfway, racked up a lot of lap prize money, made a stop, knew he would have to give up the lead in the track position, and that opened the door for young Matt Shepard to score the win.
Running 5 right now is Steve Poirier. He started outside row 4, so he's on the move.
Poirier in the 28 car. Good early run. There's A.J. Slideways in the 1 up in 4th. Single file down the backstretch. That's Fuller, Johnson, and Poirier. 3, 4, and 5 in the running order, down into 3. Yesterday, during the USAC Silver Crown race, that turn 3 area got very, very treacherous. Now, they've worked on the track since then. Put some dirt back in place to try to make it smoother there, but I don't think it'll hold up very long as Poirier continues to try to whittle away at the lead. That's Poirier in the 28. Started 8th here today from St. Mathieu, Quebec, Canada.
One car has pulled behind the pit wall. That's the number 2 of Todd Stewart.
Fuller runs 3rd. 4th, Danny Johnson. Some side-by-side racing a little further back in the pack. There's Danny Johnson in the 27J, the white car with the orange trim. Last year's winner, I'm sorry, the teammate of last year's winner, Tim McCready, there in the 39.
He was on the pole last year.
McCready starting in 13th spot. He's moved to 9th in the first couple of laps, so good early run for Tim McCready. Jack Johnson right behind him there in the 12. Jack up in 10th.
With the speeds this high and the surface the way it is, the New York State Fairgrounds, passing comes at a premium, so you really have to hang it out on the track to get by somebody. Look at Vic Coffey.
Coffey in the 32C was the winner here a year ago. He's tucked right up behind Jack Johnson in 11th spot. Some good battling back there. Danny Johnson runs 8th. 8th, 9th, 10th, 11th, and 12th, all in a bunch.
Well, Danny Johnson's always fast and always a factor here.
2 weeks ago at Eldora in Ohio, the annual Dirt Modified Tour trip out there. Danny Johnson won 2 weeks ago at Eldora. Matt Shepard second in cars owned by this team owner, Jeff Brownell. It's the McNell car that Danny Johnson's driving here today, the 27J.
McCready looks underneath but can't get the job done heading into turn 1. But he's pushing Danny.
Danny Johnson is a guy who's notoriously hard to pass, especially here. A lot of the talk along pit road this weekend has been on qualifying day a couple of days ago. Danny Johnson would not let David Hebert, who spun to start the race, get by him, even though Hebert was much faster.
Incidentally, Hebert, who moved to the back of the pack, 46 cars starting, he's up to 31st.
Good early run. That car very, very fast. And David Hebert's got a lot of experience, just not here at Syracuse. He's not a newcomer to the sport by any means.
Well, as fast as he's been the last couple of years, he has to show a lot of patience right now.
Jack Johnson in the 12, heading off turn 2. Veteran who's won the Trek Championship at Fonda in Central New York so many times.
Hearn into lap traffic.
Already working by Dave Burdick. J.R. Hefner, Todd Stewart, some of the drivers a little further back. Pierre Hebert in the 91 getting lapped right there.
You know who he's got next in his sights is Kenny Tremont.
Tremont had a great run in the 358 event earlier this weekend, ran in the top 5, finished in the top 5, but his big block program has been a little bit off this year.
Oh, my.
Bird trying to squeeze through on the bottom. There you see that hole at the bottom of turn 3 that's already developing. Bird drives around him in turn 4.
So Tremont, who has won this race, is already a lap down. Our leader is 5-time Eckerd 200 winner, Brett Hearn. Back with more from the New York State Fairgrounds after this.
15 lead, one lap car, 15 lead.
New York State Fairgrounds, there's a look at Vince Vitale being escorted off the track. He went high and had a little brush to the wall.
Looked as though he must have gone out of power, like the engine quit on him or there's some sort of drivetrain problem. It went up by the wall and just sat there and waited for a push truck. Goes behind the concrete wall that separates pit road from the garage area here at the New York State Fairgrounds. So we should be set for a restart. Don't know if there's any moisture down. It does not appear that there is.
Andy Fusco, are you standing by? What are your impressions early in this race, Andy?
Well, Doug, the first thing I want to tell you, Ronnie Smoker just blew up and dropped out during the caution period while we were away on commercial. But his right rear tire is absolute junk. After what, 30 laps or so, the right rear tire is junk. This could be a two-tire pit stop race.
Well, we'll wait and see. As we saw here earlier in the weekend of the 358 Series event, Doug, 50 miles shorter. If you can keep your car straight, if you can take care of your tires, Matt Shepard won the race without changing tires. Now, these cars have a lot more horsepower, thus a little more weight. The engines are bigger, and it's a longer race. You would think they'd need at least one tire change. Down into turn 3. Alan Johnson lapping by the 34 car.
So hard to hang on to those machines here today.
Kevin Boland taking over the 34 this morning. He was scheduled to be J.J. Yaley's teammate in one of the Thumb 12 cars. Down the backstretch for the lead. Here's Billy Decker taking his first run at Brett Hearn, and he passes on the inside.
How about that? How about that? Billy Decker gets Brett Hearn on the backstretch.
That's where you want to do it. If you get a good run off the second turn and make the pass on the straightaway, the issue of arrow push doesn't become effective. And look at Decker drive away here. Not even a lap after making the pass. Decker goes to the front, and now he's got almost a second over Hearn.
Billy Decker is in the process of checking out.
Hearn led easily.
40 lead with 2 lap cars.
Listening to Brett Hearn's radio talk now. We'll see if we can pick up on whether something might have happened to the 3 car.
Well, you know, the crew was talking about, they were concerned about tire wear once they heard about Smoker's car.
40. Lap 40, guys, 40.
40 laps on the board. And the call going down to Brett Hearn from his spotter yesterday. Remember, he popped a tire in the 358 modified event, the Sunoco A+150 here at the fairgrounds, early in the race. And he is off the pace. It looks like Brett Hearn has gotten off the gas going down into 3.
We're done, boys. Just do a drive shaft out.
We're done, drive shaft. Did you hear that? We're done. Brett Hearn.
So the driver who started on the front row, started outside pole, 5 times a winner here, led the first 25 laps, headed behind the wall. More than 25 laps, led the first 35 laps. And Brett Hearn heads behind the wall.
Hearn has won 5.
Through the back of transmission out of here, try drive shaft or something.
Hearn has won 5 times, but not since
Go right
95.
around, quickly right around.
Misfortune.
Fans on their feet, big crowd favorite at Syracuse. Also many people who just frankly don't care for Brett Hearn.
Let's go down to Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here with Jay Casimore. Jay, what happened?
Brett said the drive shaft came out. We don't know if it's a transmission-related problem, but it's just, what do you do, man?
You guys were having problems breaking torque arms all week. You had to go to a backup car a couple times. Do you think that was it?
There's no way to know. I mean, you know, we do the best we can with these parts that we have, and, you know, we'll just have to see what broke and go back to the drawing board. I think we had something for Decker today.
For the 8th year in a row, Brett Hearn will be one of the fastest cars at Super Dirt Week and yet not cash in on Sunday.
Not a very happy birthday for Jay.
No, that birthday juju we were talking about a moment ago doesn't work for him here this weekend. You could tell as quickly as Decker got to Hearn and got by that something was wrong. And my guess would be Brett, being the 20-plus year veteran driver that he is, maybe a vibration, and he felt it and may have backed out of it. One car goes around the 42P, Pat Ward, into the wall over in the second corner. He's got a broken front end part.
That is going to bring out the yellow on the racetrack. I was going to make an observation that Kevin Kovac pointed out. As soon as Brett Hearn pulled behind the pit wall, crew members from other teams rushed to his car to check out tire wear. And now we see Pat Ward in the wall as the yellow comes out. Mark Kenyon, Mark, you with Brett Hearn.
Yeah, Brett Hearn unbuckling the helmet down here in the Budweiser car. And just, we'll get a word with him here. Brett, I hate to be talking to you this time of day, you know what I mean? But what happened?
I don't get disappointed with this stuff anymore. You know, we come here and we're always well prepared. Guys did a great job with the Budweiser team. Make sure we had a fast car. We did. Threw the dry shaft out or something. So, I mean, just a parts failure, I'm sure.
I asked Jay, you guys were having problems breaking torque arm parts. You think that let go?
I don't think so. Nope, I think it was the front of the rear, maybe your dry shaft or something. Broke opinion.
Broke opinion. I can tell you guys, there's no way to maintenance get that. It's just one of those freak things that happen. You never know.
Well, he's won this race 5 times, Doug Logan. He certainly knows what it's like to taste the thrill of victory as well as the agony of defeat here at the New York State Fairgrounds. And at Brett's stage of career, he's got a really magnanimous view of the whole thing, I think. Several drivers coming to pit road, including race leader Billy Decker.
We see Steve Payne's crew ready. We see Alan Johnson's crew ready. And there is a look at Billy Decker. Anybody have him down there in the pits?
Well, the 91 team going to work. They're going to fuel the car. They're going to bolt both rear tires on, and that's pretty common in dirt modified racing. The 97 stopping, Payne's team putting tires on. Vic Coffey, who won this race a year ago, he's going for 2 tires as well.
Go hard. Go hard. Nothing outside of you. Come on, go hard. Go hard. Fuller's down there. Just get in. Go hard.
This is the Eckerd 200. Back with more after this.
Are complete of the 200 here, showing Alan Johnson, Steve Poirier, and Scott Prentice in the top 3 with Danny Johnson 4th. He also did not stop. Decker on the restart, 13th.
There's a look at Alan Johnson in that #1 machine as he looks to dig down low.
Johnson behind some lap traffic as they take the restart green.
And again, the leader of the field is not the leader of the race.
Poirier on the inside.
Oh my.
3 wide for a moment to make a couple of passes. Butch Tittle on the high side there, the white Z car. Kenny Brightbill's up in front of this group. Johnson, Poirier, and Scott Prentice in the 47 of the top 3, and Danny Johnson cycles up to 4th. Now, stopping at the 45-mile mark, that's pretty early. If you're going to make 2 stops, you could do it around 65 or 70 laps and be comfortable. We'll see if this yields great track position advantage for the drivers who did not stop. There's Kevin Boland in the red #34, Tittle in the Z, the white car, and Danny Johnson there in the 27J.
Alan Johnson continues to be the race leader. Steve Poirier 2nd. There's Tim McCready in the #39 machine. He's currently running 4th behind Danny Johnson.
Tim McCready, I believe, did not stop either of the 39 cars, so that allows him to move up considerably. Track position is a big part of the game here. It's very hard. The speeds are so close. These cars are so similar in design and in capability that you can really make up more ground through strategy and through quicker pit stops than anywhere else on the racetrack.
We are 50 laps in. 1/4 of the race in the books. Here from Syracuse. For the Eckerd 200.
Johnson in the yellow 1 continues to lead. Poirier 2nd, Danny Johnson, Tim McCready. Scott Prentice now being shuffled back to 5th, ahead of Frank Cozy and Eddie Marshall, Chris Schultz, Matt Shepard, and Donnie Rad in 10th spot in the 15R.
And again, these folks have not pitted. So we'll cycle through a little bit, but there is Alan Johnson, your race leader.
Picking off the lap money, which is a big part of the prize pot here for the Eckerd 200. There's Poirier in the 28, in 2nd. Poirier 2.3 seconds behind, so he's been able to cut into AJ's lead a little bit.
Speaking of lap money, it's not too early to think about lap 100, and that's a $10,000 bonus to the leader.
And I can guarantee you, after what we saw AJ Slideways do here in the 358 race, he's thinking about lap 100.
Steve Poirier, boy, is he running well? 2nd place.
Has had a really good week, qualified 8th out of Quebec, Canada. Many-time track champion north of the border. There's never been a French-Canadian winner of the Eckerd 200. Maybe today's the day.
Well, and the odds were that it might be Eckerd who was 3rd fastest in qualifying, but Eckerd spun coming out of turn 4 as the field was about to go green.
I'm sure very embarrassed to do that. He's up though to 23rd. He had to restart at the tail. He is on the lead lap in 23rd spot, so if he's patient, he's got a long way and a long time to work on this.
And I believe Eckerd pitted. He did pit. So he might be a little bit back on schedule.
Sure. He's certainly a driver to pay attention to. Danny Johnson in the 27J, along with McCready. These drivers running 3rd and 4th, and then Prentice in 5th spot in the 47.
Scott Prentice is quite a success story.
Certainly looking good here in the early going. Qualified in 5th spot out of Hastings, New York. has hung around in the front group of cars all afternoon so far as we put 60 laps on the board. Pressure from McCready, trying to get after Danny Johnson for third. Takes a look at the inside. As we've said before today, Danny Johnson notoriously hard to get around, especially here at Syracuse. You've almost got to have some help. You've got to almost have a pick to use to hold him up a little and get by. McCready again looking at the bottom.
And in the catbird seat is Prentice, who's driving the same car that he crashed so hard in last year's big wreck.
Needed a lot of work on that car to get it straight and ready to go. Caution flag waving here on lap 61.
Take a look around the track. It's a long way around. Schultz in the pits.
Perhaps some debris. Everyone's seemingly still at speed. Looks like the 00 car may have a problem. Looks like he's got a shredded left rear tire.
Yep.
Johnson and Poirier, and looks like McCready.
Hey, buddy, we're just past that 60-28.
There's Tim McCready.
Slow her down. Real slippery here, real slippery, real slippery.
Alan Johnson and Poirier pull into their pits. Let's go down to the pits. Who's picking them up?
Alan Johnson slides into the pits and he does a great job, keeps it away from the wall. The Elaine James crew springs into action. Left rear tire off. Can of Sunoco going in. Second can of gas up against the car. Now Tim Fuller's in the pits and he's going to block Alan. No, he leaves him a clean lane out. Down to you, Andy.
Okay, I'm down here in Timmy McCready's pit. He just took 2 rear tires and his right rear is in bad shape, blistered across the entire face of the tire. I think, Mark, what's going on here, this track is looser than I can ever remember it. There's that old adage in racing, fast is loose or loose is fast. Well, it also wears the heck out of tires, and a lot of guys down at this end of the pits are having trouble.
Tim Fuller's bunch finishing up the service on the M1.
And this time he took tires.
Yes.
This time he got some fresh rubber on that car, and Alan Johnson came out just as he went in first.
Mike Parati is off pit road, as is the 12T of J.J. Yaley.
So we'll see some shuffling in the standings here at the Eckerd 200. We'll catch you up when we come back after this timeout. From the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse, it's the 32nd running of the Eckerd 200. Culmination of Super Dirt Week, and we're going back to green.
64 laps are complete. This will be lap 65. The green flag is in the air. Danny Johnson didn't stop that time either in the 27J. He's shown as the leader. Tremont takes him down into 1. DJ there in the 27. The doctor's third in the running order on the racetrack, but he is the race leader.
Has got Danny Johnson, Scott Prentice, Frank Cozy, Billy Decker up to 4th, and Steve the Hurricane Payne 5th as they race on the course.
Now, we heard during our break that Alan Johnson's team said their tires were badly blistered, and they're going to have to change their strategy, their game plan today. I think it's got a lot to do with the air temperature. We're well into the upper 70s, if not 80 degrees. The sun continues to shine. It's dusty already. We're not even to halfway. All of that equals a lot of wear on these tires.
These fellas haven't had this kind of racing condition for the betters. Tim McCready slowing on the course.
McCready up by the wall, and the yellow flag waves.
He says we're done.
Nice job, you guys, on the fence.
Wow, Tim McCready certainly one of the drivers who we expected to be a contender here today. Up in turn 4, he stopped up against the wall. He just made his pit stop, Doug. And again, it looks as though something in the drive line has given way in the Sweeteners Plus car. So Tim McCready, the son of Barefoot Bob, his day comes to an end before halfway.
Incidentally, Tim McCready has run this race since '97. He hasn't finished, has he?
And we're being told there's a little fire in the car. Looks as though he must have had an oil line come off. I'm not sure that Tim is aware of the fact that there's fire inside that race car.
We have a good look at it.
He's moving around inside, but you can see the
Tim.
flames licking on the left side of the car.
Oh my.
Track safety crews there. Timmy now understands, and he is unbuckling and is out of the 39.
So we're back under yellow at the New York State Fairgrounds. Best finish for Tim McCready, 25th back in '98. He's a young gun, he's a lion, but he's had some struggles here at Syracuse. Back after this. Doug Logan along with Rick Benjamin at the New York State Fairgrounds in Syracuse. We are roughly 69 laps into the big race, the Eckerd 200. The leader is the Dr. Danny Johnson.
He's played it perfectly, but he hasn't yet made his pit stop. Scott Prentice, Frank Cozy, neither of the top three, none of the top three have stopped so far, but Billy Decker, who was the first of the front runners to stop, he cycled back up to fourth.
And if folks have already changed rubber in the first 65 laps of this race, they may have to change rubber again before this thing's over.
I'm going back to that conversation this morning on pit road. Brett Hearn said, hey, we're thinking of 3 stops here for tires. Now he's behind the wall with a broken drive line, but it's easy to see. We saw that Billy Decker needed tires badly 45 laps into this thing, so you could easily see 2 more stops by the front runners. Danny Johnson leads him down into turn 1, back under green, 130 miles to go.
Scott Prentice is second, Frank Cozy is third, and Billy Decker is fourth, and the Hurricane Steve Payne is moving on Decker in the back straightaway.
Shuffling the deck down the backside, this is Prentice knocking on the door with Danny Johnson in the 27J. Prentice, what a surprise to see him up contending for the lead.
And as we look back with after Payne in 5th, Vic Coffey, last year's winner, is 6th, Jerry Higbee, Bob McCready is 8th, Jack Johnson 9th, and Bud Chrisman 10th.
McCready made his first stop early also, as did Decker, and he was very quick off pit road. Came off 5th among the cars that stopped, gained a lot of ground there.
There are your leaders right there, Danny Johnson and Scott Prentice.
Third spot, the white car you see, Frank Cozy from Wind Gap, Pennsylvania, second here earlier this weekend in the 358 event, the Sunoco A+ 150. Cozy certainly a driver with a family-owned team who knows how to get it done. There's Barefoot Bob, the Syracuse frame number 9, the Kinney Drug Store car. He's got a ton of experience here, has tasted victory here at the New York State Fair at the Moody Mile.
But he's tasted far less bad meals.
Yeah.
You know, besides the one banquet that he had in '86, there's a car spinning and slowed in turn 4.
Caution flag is waving.
That is Eckerd.
David Eckerd for the second time, same spot. And Eckerd was marching up through the field after that spin on the initial start of the race that brought about a complete restart. He was running up in about 20th spot last time we checked the scoring monitor, but he will give up a lot of track position.
Back down to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Doug, I'm down here with Tim McCready. First of all, let's talk about your race car. What was the problem out there?
Broken engine. You know, we had trouble yesterday being way underpowered in the 358 division and had a little trouble today. Can't ask for a better race car. I'll tell you that Bobby Hearn has turned my whole year around with that new Stage 2 chassis. I got to thank him and Ann and Carl Myers. And hey, what are you going to do? I can only ride around. If the stuff comes apart, it comes apart.
Now, you may not have a car in the race as a driver, but you got one as a gift to your father. What was the story there?
Well, you know, it's just the Bicknell car, and they're great people from Bicknell's. His car was a little bent up and beat up, and he's had a bad year. It's one of them deals, and I've been fortunate. I've won most races I've ever won in my career. So for me to come in and do this, it's a great thing. So I hope he can get a good run out of it and things go good.
Yeah, Father's Day came a little late this year in the McCready family. Timmy went down to New Jersey, bought his dad a car. Let's get back to this engine story. You're the 5th guy I've talked to at this end of the pit who's lost an engine today in this race. What's going on?
From our end of it, we haven't had a problem all week. I don't know what happened. It just something came apart, and you know, it's nothing these crew guys can do. They're working their tails off. Tommy Greco, Jeff Niskus, this whole Sweeteners Plus gang. When a motor comes apart, when your oil pressure's up and your temp's up, there's nothing we got for it. You know, there's nothing we can do on our end of it. We just got to go back to work and nail it down for the rest of the year.
Short day from the brightest face on the dirt circuit. That engine story, guys, let's keep an eye on it.
We have 25 cars on the lead lap. It's the Eckerd 200 from Syracuse, and this is Super Dirt Week. Doug Logan along with Rick Benjamin back at the New York State Fairgrounds, and this is the Eckerd 200. Mark Kenyon, take it away.
I'm down here with Danny's pit with the car owner slash crew chief Jeff Brunel. Jeff, yesterday he put Shepard in victory lane. Today, talking to Danny. Today, a unique strategy. They haven't stopped yet. You haven't stopped yet. Are you going for halfway? Do you know the legend of halfway?
Yeah, we're going halfway.
And halfway, no one's ever gone halfway and won. He's going halfway, guys.
Takes care of that.
Green flag back in the air. 86 miles complete, 114 to go, and DJ takes off.
Well, that means pretty much that Bob McCready, who was going to stay out till lap 100, has at least 6 people ahead of him that are going to do the very same thing.
Prentice right behind Danny Johnson, and Decker sits in 3rd spot. Steve Payne, rather, in 4th. Vic Coffey. Jerry Higbee, who had a good run at the front of the pack in the 358 event early. And then McCready in 7th. Jack Johnson runs 8th. Alan Johnson back up to 9th. He led previously. And Chuck Bauer in the 99 running in 10th.
I wonder if Scott Prentice is surprised that Danny Johnson's staying out there.
Could be.
Prentice seems like more the candidate to stick out there for 100 laps and not Danny Johnson who wants to win this race. I understand they all want to win the race and Prentice is going fast. Just seems more likely that Prentice would be the one that would stay out there for lap 100.
Andy Fusco talked about how Danny Johnson had been running 33-second laps when his qualifying speed was in the 29, so he's got 4 more seconds in there. 33.5 last time around.
But you know, it's a long way around if you've got to pass somebody on the outside.
And again, Danny Johnson is a very tough guy to pass. He makes that car very wide. And Prentice has found that out. Prentice has looked to the inside on the backstretch several times. Here he is again taking a peek. Now he's got to worry about the 91. Decker showing the nose of his car inside Prentice's machine.
Mark Kenyon is in the Danny Johnson pit.
I'm down here in the Johnson pit, and I want to get over here. I want to talk to Milt Johnson. Milt, that motor in Danny's car, a file motor that Tony built years ago, it went up to Canada. We don't know the history of it, and I was with you the other night. We don't know how many laps are on that motor. Are you concerned?
A little bit, but without knowing the history, you know, you just don't know.
You're sitting back here in the trailer. You got your toes crossed?
No.
Milt Johnson, cool as the other side of the pillow. That motor, guys, was an original Tony file piece. It was sold up in Canada, disappeared for a while, reappeared. Brownell and the crew, Milt Johnson, put a rebuild in it, and Danny loves it.
Previous lap, Prentice was very loose out of turn 4, and Billy Decker almost got him, couldn't quite do it.
And Danny Johnson picking up the pace of 32.5, still a way off the car's capability. 3 seconds or so slower than that car should be able to run in race trim. Here's Decker in the 91, taking a look for second spot inside Prentice. Can't get there. Scott Prentice working the bottom there, trying to hold back the 91.
Yeah, Decker's all over him. Look at these 3 drivers. Down the front straightaway they come.
Decker thinks he's got a shot at second into the first corner, and he's got him. So Billy Decker, who's made 1 pit stop already on lap 92, moves back to second spot.
So he's already made a pit stop, and he's still a candidate for the $10,000.
Very fast race car. Qualified on the pole here this weekend. Got out dragged by Brett Hearn at the start.
High, keep coming. Keep coming. No yellow, no yellow. Yellow's out, yellow's out.
And now the yellow is out.
And this may save Danny Johnson's bid to claim the halfway bonus.
Off 93.
Well, I'm just saying, if you're Danny Johnson, you come in now and fuel up for the finish and change your tires thinking you can go the distance.
I don't think so.
Nobody else can.
I don't think so. He's 7 laps short of the halfway money. I don't think he'll do it. I think that $10,000 prize is large enough that they will stay on the racetrack. The car that brought out the yellow, Gary Tompkins, who had slowed down moments ago, they did repair the car and send it back out, but obviously the repairs didn't hold Tompkins against the wall up in turn 4.
Scotty, have everybody relax. We're going halfway. We're going halfway.
Scott Prentice, we're going to the halfway point.
Chilled out. They're going. Don't worry.
Is anybody going to come in?
Decker's coming in.
Look at that.
Wow, Billy Decker decides he needs tires again.
It's because they can do it and go the distance. Let's go down to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Okay, I'm here in Decker's pit. They're saying to heck with $10,000. We want the 50 grand to win the race. They're changing both rear tires, taking on two full tanks of gas. It's taking a little bit longer than they expected. The car is down now off the jack, gets away. That will be the last pit stop he will have to make. Billy Decker, track position is what Syracuse is all about. And right now, this race is played into their hand.
Well, Alan Johnson first off of pit road once again. Decker down and away as well. Kenny Brightville, Bob McCready, Jack Johnson, Butch Tittle. David Hebert still on pit road. He was moving up through the field nicely. This is a very long pit stop for Hebert. Kenny Johnson stays out there. The 83 car is down and away.
So Danny Johnson was not willing to do what Billy Decker was willing to do, and we'll see how the strategy pays off. We're at Syracuse, and this is the Eckerd 200. Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, set for the restart. Danny Johnson is your race leader. Steve Kane is listed as second on the track. In second place, Jerry Higbee, Chuck Bauer, Tim Fuller, the top 5. Back to green.
This will be lap 96, 4 more until the crossed flags, and Johnson with that $10,000 bonus in his gun sights. Steve Payne's a guy he may have to contend with. Payne didn't stop either on that cycle. Payne's pretty quick. He was coming up through the field. And Payne is right up on Danny Johnson's back bumper as they leave turn 2. The Hurricane looks outside, and that has not been done here this weekend. Johnson able to close the door on him as they drop down in 3. There's that situation where it's slicked over at the bottom, and there are some holes developing there. Very treacherous in turn 3 here at Syracuse.
97 laps in. Scott Prentice, who we heard on the radio saying they were going to stay out there to the midway point, they didn't. They came in.
Alan Johnson back out on the racetrack. He was perhaps a gas and go. Now Payne again knocking on the door on the back bumper of DJ's car. Steve Payne looks inside going into 3, but he can't close the deal.
Around 3 and 4 and down the front straightaway. Steve Payne running strong all day, and Danny Johnson, the doctor, continues to lead. 2 laps to go to the 10,000.
Payne's crew looking on. That's a $10,000 prize they'd love to bag as well, and Steve Payne's really good between turns 1 and 2. Last couple of laps, he's gotten a great run off too, and made a big move trying to get to Danny Johnson on the inside. Can't do it this time. He's about 5 car lengths back.
He'll get 1 more lap to get it done as they come around turn 4.
So now if you're Danny Johnson and you've got the halfway and 1 more lap, the halfway bonus, what do you think? Do you think, well, I make a green flag stop, give myself as many laps as possible to come up through the pack? Or do you play it out another 5 or 6 laps and hope for another caution so you can make a caution pit stop?
The Hurricane puts a move on Danny down the back straightaway. Does he have enough? It doesn't look like it. 1 car length.
Radio traffic from the spotters to the drivers, letting them know what the situation is.
And here's the sprint to $10,000.
10 grand, baby.
Tells him halfway, you win the bonus money. $10,000 to Danny Johnson of the 27J, the Brownell team.
Hey, nice and smooth. We're looking for a caution.
Yeah, they're not only looking for a caution, they're praying for a
I was
caution.
thinking exactly that. We were exactly on the same page.
3.
Steve Payne is right there with the doctor in turn 3 again.
Now the story with Danny Johnson is no longer tire wear. Now it's fuel mileage. Back down to Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here in the Danny Johnson pit. They yelled on the radio 10 grand. If you win this race, you'll be the first human to ever do it with this pit strategy. Tell me what you're hoping for now.
A caution.
That's what you need desperately. If you don't get it, you lose. Did you know that going in? If you don't get a yellow, you lose.
I didn't hear you. I'm sorry.
Jeff Barnell with some giant strategy here. And I'll tell you what a huge gamble. No one's ever won the halfway bonus and won the race.
And no one wants to respond to the term "you lose" either. You know that too.
That was the expression and the discussion of a guy who's used to winning a lot of races. Lose is not in his vocabulary, I think you could say.
Danny Johnson has not yet pitted, and he is leading this race, but fuel is about to become a major issue.
And you can understand, if you know racers and the sport of auto racing, if a team comes here with a motor that they're not sure can live the whole 200 miles, or a car that they don't think is really competitive at the end of the day, you could treat it as a race to 100 miles and go for the $10,000. And that may be what they've done. But this is certainly a great driver. He's won this race before. He knows how to get it done. And who knows, we may see history made here. Payne, though, in that yellow number 7. Right there with Danny Johnson again as they slide into turn 3.
As you mentioned, he gains ground in turns 1 and 2, and I wonder if that's grip.
Certainly could be. The turns aren't the same here. They appear the same to the naked eye. It's a pretty much symmetrical oval. But I can guarantee you that the grip characteristics at both ends of the track are not the same.
Let him go. Let him go. Let him go.
Jeff Brownell talking to Danny Johnson on the radio saying, let him go. Don't worry about it.
And that is a strategy. He will let Steve Payne pass. See, Danny Johnson has won $10,000, but now he's got issues.
He's won 10,000 and a lot of lap money. DJ has been in the lead for probably 40 laps or more.
Let Higbee go. Let him go. Let him go.
He's letting Higbee go by him. No, he's not. Not yet.
Jerry Higbee Jr., the
Hey, can you
97.
bring out your own caution? And before the leaders come around, restart.
Wow. If you bring out your own caution, that's generally considered unsporting.
Can you bring out your own caution and then restart before the leaders come around?
No response from the doctor. Danny Johnson runs in second. Steve Payne building the lead. Here's Higbee. Higbee to the inside, gets by for second. So Jerry Higbee, who had a great run going yesterday before he ran into problems in his 358 machine,
20 lengths, Dan. 20.
moves to second. Now, we've been told by Logan that 107 miles is about the outside here for any team. This is lap 108 for Danny Johnson without stopping.
He's out of fuel.
And he's out of fuel.
He's out of fuel. Get somebody on the side of pit road.
Now he can coast in from there.
Remember.
Can he?
He's got it out of gear, I'm sure.
Hey guys, get down there.
He's very likely to lose a lap.
Yellow is not out. We stay green. So Danny Johnson may have cooked his own goose here.
He's not making it.
Yellow's out. Yellow's out.
They throw the yellow.
Wow. Down to Mark Kenyon. Mark.
I'm down in the Danny Johnson pit, and they're yelling down here. It's frantic. I asked Brunell, how far can you go? The whole crew looked at me and threw their arms up in the air. They didn't know how far they could go. Moments later, they found out. Danny Johnson just crawling painfully slow. Now the crew's going to take off. I don't know the rules on pitting outside your box or fueling outside your box. Could be an issue too.
Well, he's gone a lap down. He's gone a lap down.
They've got the ether ready to refire the motor.
Andy Fusco.
This is happening right in front of me. Danny Johnson looks disgusted, but of course they took a gamble. The gamble didn't work. They're having trouble now getting the second filler can into the car, the 27. And let's start developing another story as if there isn't enough. Looking over the fourth turn wall, black clouds on the horizon. The track radar just told us that we've got about a 45-minute window before it's going to start raining. Right now, Alan Johnson and Billy Decker have made their last pit stops for the day, so they're set. The 7 of Steve Payne is going to be able to get to about lap 150, lap 151. That's as much as they've got to figure. Right now, they're keeping their fingers crossed that it's going to start raining, and as I look on the horizon, I don't have doubts that it's on its way. Here comes Steve Payne right now.
Payne stopping, also Jerry Higbee on pit road. And the B&F M1 of Tim Fuller making a stop among the front runners.
The fact that it didn't work for Danny Johnson should not come as any big surprise. It's never worked in the history of this event. Let's go down to Mark Kenyon. Mark?
I'm right here in the Steve Payne pit. I saw the right rear. It looks good. It looks feathered, but it was not blistered. So Steve Payne not having an issue with tires. Now the B&F Bob Faust, Michelle Faust machine, they're putting tires on. They were concerned. Payne's away. And almost a wreck here coming out. Now Fuller's slow, but away.
Higbee beat Payne out. Now Fuller out.
Scott Prentice also off pit road. It's been a great day for Prentice. He was right up in the top 3 for a long time, and he may be set for the rest of the way. I just finished saying 107 laps. That's all we've heard anyone can go on fuel. It was after 107 on lap 108 when DJ ran out of gas.
But, my friend, there's more.
Well, with the pace laps and the yellow laps at the beginning, yes, it was over 110. But they say that a yellow flag lap will use about half as much fuel as a green flag lap. So if you figure the discount, maybe he did probably go 110 green laps with that run of fuel. So it worked out better than he could have hoped. He's back in, though. Danny Johnson brings the 27J in one more time.
And we'll be right back after this. Dirt Week is turning a little bit ominous now as rain is coming to Syracuse. We are on lap 118 of 200 and back under green flag conditions at the New York State Fairgrounds.
Donnie Rad on the 15R continues to lead, cycling through the pit stops to the front of the pack. How about Bud Crispin in the 18 car? You started to allude to it. He may be rolling the dice on fuel mileage.
He last pitted on lap 84. Let's go down to the pits. Andy Fusco?
First of all, some bad news from the Decker pit. Talking to Scott Jeffries, he says Billy's complaining about the car getting tight on him. Their fear is during that last green flag run, the heat cycle in the left rear expanded that tire, goofed up the stagger, and now has tightened up the car. You talk about Crispin. For him to go 116 miles, can it be done on a tank of fuel? Well, he's done miracles here before, hasn't he, Mark?
Yes, he has. Andy Bud Crispin, the master of fuel mileage. I'm down in the Poirier pit, and I'm talking to the crew chief. You guys pitted on lap 95, 105. Not out of the question. You staying out?
I suppose I will have to go until the end. And I tried to go until the end of the race like that.
This is it. Cards are down. Nobody's showing their hand. Everybody's going to play them down and dirty. We'll have to let it play out.
And there's J.J. Yaley in the 12T. The USAC Triple Crown champion cemented his honors with a win in the USAC Silver Crown race here that was part of Super Dirt Week to close out the year. Silver Crown champion, Sprint Car champion, on his way to a midget title, presumably on his way to the NASCAR Busch Series next year. JJ made the show out of the qualifiers race this morning. He's running 25th. He's gained 20 spots in the first 120 miles.
That duel with Brightville and Coffey won by Brightville. He's now running 9th. On the racetrack, it's Donnie Rad who will have to pit again. Bud Crispin, who may have to pit again, but he's rolling the dice. Alan Johnson, Matt Shepard, and Kenny Tremont, the top 5.
Shepard, the winner of the Sunoco 8 Plus 150 here earlier in Super Dirt Week. There's AJ Slideways in car number 1. He led earlier. He cycled the Elaine James car back to 3rd. He should be good to go to the end, depending on tire wear. I want to ask the pit guys a question, though. Mark and Andy, track conditions have got to be changing. The sun has gone away. Clouds are covering the racetrack now. We've got 75 miles to go. That should tighten up the racetrack, I would think. We'll try to get some thoughts on that from pit road in a few moments. Watching the fast cars, the leaders down the back stretch.
And Shepard, who's running 4th, last pitted on 63. He's got to come in again.
Kenny Tremont back there in 5th, really picking up the pace.
Andy, what about those changing conditions?
Exactly what you said up there in the tower. When it's sunny, the oils and whatnot come to the surface of the track and loosen the track. That's one of the reasons we saw that it was so loose early in the going. Once it gets cloudy, it does tighten the racetrack, and that's probably exacerbated Billy Decker's problem.
Decker in the 91. Whole qualifier here, working on the 28. Steve Poirier, this is for 7th spot. Poirier, remember, followed Decker for a good number of laps in the first 75 here. Donnie Rad continues to lead. Crispin 2nd. Alan Johnson, though, knocking on the door of 2nd spot. There's your battle.
There it is. You know, Crispin kind of backed off Rad, who's leading by 2.5 seconds right now, and I wonder if that's a fuel conservation move.
Could certainly be. He's running 34.6-second laps, and that has got to save him a lot of fuel. Again, we point out he is known to be a master of fuel mileage. There are things these teams are doing now with carburetor jetting and with engine tuning, frankly, to try to give themselves better mileage, because fuel mileage is such a big part of winning the Eckerd 200 here. Crispin certainly, I'm sure, is looking at the sky thinking, hey, this thing may not go to 200 laps today.
So Bud Crispin continues to run 2nd behind Donnie Rad and in front of Alan Johnson. Mark Kenyon, what do you have on Bud?
Bud is one of my close personal friends. In fact, I helped him out this summer. Bud is you meet Bud and he's a quiet, you think kind of just kind of a simple guy. Let me tell you something. I've seen Buddy work. He runs a big excavating company. The guy borders on genius. He works till 2, 3 o'clock in the morning, night after night on this car, and they have been working since they left here last year on fuel mileage.
And he's certainly moving plenty of dirt around out there right now very, very nicely. Doing a terrific job behind the wheel. We've got a car in the wall. Trouble on the racetrack. I think that's Scott Prentice in the 47. And Prentice has spun and backed
it in. You see the flame again.
Well, that's fuel being dumped onto the headers, into the headers, after the car shut off. So I wouldn't worry too much about that.
We're at the New York State Fairgrounds. This is Super Dirt Week 32 and the Eckerd 200. Back with more. State Fairgrounds. And we are 132 laps into the Eckerd 200, and there's a look at Scott Prentice's car.
What a tough break. Prentice ran second earlier. He was very quick all day, trying a little different pit stop strategy. I'm not so sure that he and Alan Johnson didn't tangle. Alan Johnson's one car has some damage on the right rear corner.
And there is our defending champion out of the race, Vic Coffey. And we're set to go back to green. The leader is Donnie Rad, who pitted on lap 63, and his pit window could take him another 30 laps or so.
And if the weather gets here quicker than we think it might, he could be in great shape. Bud Chrisman second, certainly playing a fuel mileage strategy. Alan Johnson third, even with the right rear corner damage on the one car. Damage not slowing him down any. He's going to make a move, try to get by Chrisman for second, can't do it.
Fourth place is Matt Shepard, and in addition to that funky looking 9 on his car, he's got that little S. It might be for Shepard, but it also looks a lot like Superman.
Well, they call him Super Matt Shepard, and that's I'm sure why that's on the number panel of the car. Shepard, 21 years of age, student at Rochester Tech. There's Alan Johnson in car number 1. Now, Kevin Kovac yesterday, I believe, mentioned something that Alan Johnson's girlfriend is Matt Shepard's mom.
Okay.
So that could set up quite an interesting battle between those two.
Alan Johnson, who's having a rejuvenated career, won this race in '83, won this race in '89. Could he also win it in 2003?
Certainly he could. He's very much a contender. But Donnie Rad is a guy everybody's got to figure on now being a contender if the weather becomes a factor. 65 to go. From New Egypt Speedway in New Jersey, just his second try here at the Moody Mile. There's Shepard in the 9S, won the 358 event, the Sunoco 8 plus 150 here, part of Super Dirt Week.
You can see that Superman shield, but you got to look fast.
Terrific young man to talk to. Up in fourth spot.
Hey, Mark Kenyon, you got a weather forecast for us?
The weather looks moist and rainy. The wind picked up, and I can tell you what, when the wind starts blowing, it's blowing right down the front stretch. It's great when you're on the front stretch because it blows, but when you get to the back stretch, it's like a headwind, and your head bounces around in the car. It'll also push these cars off in 1 and 2. It'll push them up a high groove. Looks like rain to me.
Last rain-shortened race was in 1992.
Richie Tobias, who didn't make the show here this weekend. He was entered. He did race in the USAC Silver Crown event. Had a good run into the top 3 in that race. In fact, finished second, but did not make the show this year for the Eckerd 2 lane.
The 92 race went 135 laps. We're at 137 right here, and it's getting dark all of a sudden. Oh, my.
Donnie Rad continues to lead in the 15R. Bud Chrisman less than a second behind. Alan Johnson another 5/10 back of him. There's Jack Johnson in the 12A.
He's running 11.
And Jack with a great run going here today for a driver well on the north side of age 50.
Incidentally, he's running 11th. Bob McCready is running 10th right now.
Barefoot Bob turning in a good run, had excellent pit stops his first couple of times, and the car seems very fast, but he hasn't yet been able to get up and contend. In front of McCready, there's Bright Bill out of Pennsylvania in the 19B. He's 9th. Talk about a guy on the north side of 50. Not so sure Kenny's not on the north side of 60.
Well, talk about Kenny, Bright Bill, Bob McCready, and Jack Johnson.
Well, I've been doing this for quite a while, Doug, as you know. They were racing when I was a kid, and that was more than 30 years ago. And it's great to see. It's one of the things that's most appealing about dirt motorsports. Race leader continues to be Donnie Rad.
Let's go down to the pits.
I'm down here in the red. I'm not the sharpest crayon in the box, but you guys, I figure, got to go 129 laps. Can you do it?
Yeah, we're pretty sure we're going to be real close. We're running half throttle right now. We're not even half throttle.
Well, I'll tell you what, guys. I'm pretty sure they're going to be real close, too. That's an understatement, real close.
This is the Eckerd 200. Back with more after this.
Ball, and we get another caution.
Donnie Rad is the race leader, looking for a shocking upset here at Syracuse. Let's go down to the pits and
see what Donnie has in his mind.
Okay, I'm down here with Scott McLaren. He's the crew chief. He's talking to Johnny Rad right now. What are you telling your driver?
Keep an eye on the fuel gauge, the fuel pressure.
Now, earlier he was backing off about halfway down the straightaway. He must know Alan Johnson's right there now.
As soon as we get a decent lead, he's back down to about third of throttle.
Okay, now, guys, you want to hear this? Donnie Rad didn't win a feature this year on the New Jersey, Pennsylvania circuit. Runs to Egypt weekly, like you say. Imagine not winning a feature this year, and right now he's in the catbird seat to win the biggest race of all time.
Incredible.
To say it would be a stunning upset is putting it mildly, and we get ready to restart. They're picking up speed in 3.
But in order to do it, the rain has to come.
Yeah, and to hold back a guy like Alan Johnson, AJ Slideways, he's won so many races. He's won here. He's won championships everywhere. And, you know, that would make the win even sweeter if he could pull it off.
But if you take a look at Rad and Alan Johnson, you see Rad slowly but methodically pulling away from AJ Slideways. Along the same lines, Alan, barring rain, can just sit tight.
Well, if he can't race Rad, if he can't get up to him and try to pass him, he's got no choice. He's got to protect second, hope that Rad runs out of fuel, or hope that the rains come.
Hold off, Alan Johnson.
Well, holding off would certainly give him a better opportunity. You're exactly right.
Back down to the Alan Johnson pits.
I'm down in the Johnson pit. Are you guys trying to conserve fuel by running behind Rad? Are you just going to wait for him to hopefully run out of fuel, or do you think you're going to have to pass him soon?
Right now we're just conserving fuel, and Alan's just riding back there, just saving tires, saving fuel, because we know that guy's got a pit here shortly.
Last year you stopped on lap 91 and you ran out of fuel. This year you stopped on lap 93. Is it close?
Yeah, we should be good though. As long as we can conserve fuel, get a couple more cautions, we should be good.
This is it, guys. Down and dirty. Here they come.
There have been 14 cautions in this race.
And you would assume that that would equal maybe 40, 50 laps of caution.
Decker's
That's a
got
lot.
Poirier. Decker passed Poirier.
Put him up to 7th spot.
Chrisman
In trouble.
spins.
Bud Chrisman coming off 4. I wonder if it's raining down
Jack Johnson spins.
I wonder if we're getting some moisture that into the racetrack, or if somebody has put some moisture down on the surface, because Chrisman just looped it coming out of turn 4. Jack jumped on the brakes and went around. Don't think he hit anything. Both those drivers running very well up at the top. Chrisman was 3rd.
And Jack Johnson was 11th. And they are going to be shuffled back.
Buddy Chrisman refires the car. There's Jack Johnson in the 12A. Give up a ton of track position, and if this one comes to an early end as we approach lap 160.
Remember, a couple laps ago we saw Chrisman getting loose.
Yeah. And his tires may be going away.
Yeah.
Fuel strategy is fine, but the tire wear has been severe for many of these teams today. And now with it being cloudy, and it has been for half or 3/4 of an hour, that will help you save tires. The track temperature will come down some, and the tires won't wear as quickly. But still, it could be a case of where his right rear is just gone.
Donnie Rad, we're going to see the replay here, and he
contact
with Matt
Shepard. Help from Matt Shepard turned him around.
Yeah.
More than a little.
And look what Kenny Tremont does. I think you'll see it here. How did Shepard hang on to that machine? But meanwhile, Tremont goes by Shepard and is now 3rd.
Great run for a great veteran driver who's had a lot of personal tragedy in his life. Lost a daughter a couple of years ago. Struggled in his weekly program. Comes here to Syracuse. Had an excellent run in the Sunoco A+ 150.
Look at how far back it is before Johnson spins. Now, that was slow motion.
I think that was a case of him jumping on the brakes and turning the car around rather than him losing.
This is the Eckerd 200. Back with more after this. With Rick Benjamin back at the New York State Fairgrounds. Our race leader the same. Donnie Rad. Alan Johnson 2nd, followed by Kenny Tremont, Matt Shepard, and Frank Cozy, the top 5. And there's a bid for the 5th position as Billy Decker goes inside Cozy on the front straightaway. Couldn't get it done.
There's the 2nd place car, the one of Alan Johnson, the Elaine James car. Johnson may be in the catbird seat here, because the speculation certainly is that Donnie Rad can't go much further on the fuel load he's got. Here comes the 91 of Decker again, trying to get underneath Cozy at 3. Cozy able to close the door on him.
Kenny Tremont is not gaining any ground on Alan Johnson.
About 2.5 seconds behind. And Johnson's about 7/10 behind Rad. It's been that way for 25 or 30 laps. Again, the battle for 5th spot here.
See, you need that extra 1/10 of a mile on that straightaway. Can't quite get underneath.
Nope. turn 2 is the place to do it. If he can get a better run off the second corner. Oh, and Donnie Rad is running out of fuel, it appears. The 15R off the base down into 3.
Yep, look at him go side to side, trying to splash some fuel around. And Alan Johnson is the race leader.
Valiant effort by Donnie Rad and his team. They run, if I recall correctly, they run 109 laps.
It's bringing out the yellow.
He's going to barely get on the pit road, and it depends where his pit stall is, whether he'll be able to get down there. Remember when Danny Johnson ran out of fuel? They had to go bring him a fuel can.
Let's go down to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Okay, I'm down here in the Rad pit. He had trouble stopping the car. He's finally got it stopped. Now there's ether going in to get it restarted. The first filler tank is hooked up. It's taking fuel. The Cinderella story has come to an unfortunate end here. Donnie Rad, 27-year-old machinist, married, no children, not really a household name in modified racing. His sponsor, Cintas, make industrial uniforms. The irony is his team down here is one of the only teams in the pits with no uniforms. Now they've got the thing trying to get it push started back out onto the racetrack. Because it's gone dry, they cannot get it restarted.
There he goes. He gets it refired. It takes off, but that hands the lead to A.J. Slideways.
The leader, the veteran, Alan Johnson, a resurgence in his career. May it continue with good luck here at Syracuse in 2003. Back with more after this. Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, we have 22 laps remaining in the Eckerd 200, and we have a turn of events. Andy Fusco, tell us about it.
Okay, I'm down here in the Tremont pit, and it has started to drizzle. The last 2 minutes or so, it started to rain, and it's starting to pick up as I speak. Now, speaking to Kenny Tremont, whether tire wear is going to be a factor or not is something they don't know. He had a lot of wear before he made his pit stop. They attributed that to the fact he had to race so hard to get back on the lead lap. If he's got anything left for Alan Johnson, well, they don't even know. It's all going to play out in the last 18 laps.
And we're back to green.
Green flag racing coming up, 20 miles to go. Next time by, Alan Johnson, the leader, Tremont, Matt Shepard, Frank Cozy, Decker, the top 5. And we're at that point of the race where some cars are having problems.
Matt Shepard
looks like he's run out of fuel in the 9S. Wiggling the car, he dove to the bottom coming off turn 2. Wiggling it hard, trying to get it around the pit road. He'll make it. His last stop on lap 63. So he's gone 113 miles.
That's Matt Shepard's scanner.
Shepard up onto pit road in the 9S. Won the 358 event here earlier in the weekend.
One next challenger by the wayside.
Got a broken axle.
Broken axle.
Not fuel.
Alan Johnson leads. Kenny Tremont is about a second behind. Frank Cozy third. Billy Decker fourth. Steve Poirier fifth.
And with it sprinkling a little, we stay green. It'll slick up quickly if we get any significant amount of rainfall here.
It doesn't appear like the sky is ready to open up at all.
No, I thought it had brightened up. I mentioned a few minutes ago. I thought we weren't going to get any rain, at least during the running of the race. Here's Tremont in the 115, 1.1 seconds back in second spot.
Everybody, Rick, has a margin, though, between them and the person behind them.
Yeah, no close racing among the top group of cars. That is for sure. Best battle might be for fifth. Kenny Brightville last time by was about half a second behind Steve Poirier and Brisbane.
7 cars on the 44. Lap number 181. Lap number 182. Sorry.
Kenny Tremont's scanner.
Tremont 1 second behind Alan Johnson. That's Johnson's yellow number 1 in the lead. There's Tremont with a 115, riding second from 40th starting spot.
And remember, you know, last year he was leading, heading in toward turn 3, and ran out of fuel. And Vic Coffey passed him for the lead.
No pressure. Lap number 183. 183. 17 to go.
As we take a look at the top 10 cars behind Tremont, Cozy, Decker, Poirier, Brightville, McCready, Donnie Corellis, Higbee, Payne, and all those drivers I think should be well within their fuel cycle.
Tremont second, but Alan Johnson is the leader. That's a new paint job, but it's a 6-year-old car.
The front straightaway.
Lap number 184. 184.
He won the race in this machine. But he's looking at the back bumper of Alan Johnson, and Alan Johnson leads by over a second.
And Tremont Sr. watching from pit road. Here's Alan Johnson in the 1. AJ Slideways trying to close the deal here. Things have gone just the way they had hoped. He started in the 6th position, lives in Brewerton, New York, not far from here at all. As we watch Tremont in 2nd.
And no real battles for position right now in the top 8.
Johnson getting by the 15R of Donnie Rad, who led so many laps before running out of fuel with 30 to go.
You know, winning Super Dirt Week, winning the Eckerd 200 is something that all these drivers covet. Alan Johnson, by virtue of just finishing ahead of Billy Decker today, will clinch the Super Dirt Series crown.
Mr. Dirt 2003. It's worth a big pile of money and prestige for AJ Slideways. There's Decker in the 91. Sitting 4th. Led early. Was very fast. The handling of the car has gone away to a degree. He's starting to charge here late in the going, though. He's sizing up Frank Cozy for 3rd spot.
Fast all week. Set an all-time record for big block modifieds during qualifications here at the New York State Fairgrounds, averaging over 125 miles an hour.
Certainly has a very fast race car, and the team very good anytime they unload.
But passing is such a premium here.
Well, they say it in every form of motorsport. Catching a guy is one thing, passing him is something else. Here, because of aero push, the high speeds, and the pretty narrow groove at Syracuse, it's really a problem.
Hey, Andy Fusco, you still feeling those raindrops?
Yeah, as a matter of fact, I am, but it's not as bad as it was, say, 5 minutes ago, but it's still sprinkling, and I think it only sprinkles on the 3rd and 4th end of the speedway. Looking to the other end of the speedway is pretty bright, so if they're going to have any trouble, it's going to be on ends 3 and 4.
Boyer running in the top 5, trying to become the first Canadian driver to win this event.
10 to go. Last time by, the leader's got 10 to go.
And the leader is Alan Johnson by about a second over Kenny Tremont Jr.
Boyer certainly had a good weekend here. There's the 1 car of your race leader. 9 miles remaining for Alan Johnson.
Alan Johnson's car owner, Jim Beachy, last won this race with Jack Johnson, no relation, in 1984. And Jim Beachy and AJ Slideways, Alan Johnson have teamed up to be dominant in the dirt racing circuit the last couple of years.
Certainly have. And again, as Doug mentioned, if things stay the way they are and Johnson finishes in front of Billy Decker, he'll clinch the Mr. Dirt Championship, the Super Dirt Series touring title.
8 laps to go. Mark Kenyon.
I'm down here in the pits, and Randy Kosaki just put the calculator away. He had it in his pocket. But he's on the radio now talking to his driver, and he had the calculator out. They've got a pit sign. The pit sign they're holding in their hand, so they're not very confident. They're just guys are breaking out the ether. They've got 2 cans of ether, so just in case, it's real close down here.
I thought Mark said they were putting away the catheter. I thought maybe someone was having a different sort of problem down on pit road. There's Decker in the 91. He makes a move on Cozy, still can't get there.
We are anticipating that tire wear is not going to be an issue the remainder of this race, but fuel still could be. The top 7 drivers all pitted on lap 94. Let's see who's getting the best gas mileage.
Well, it's certainly doable. We've seen drivers go 120 laps here today because of all the cautions. Bob McCready in the 9 car behind Brightville, running in 7th is McCready, Brightville 6th. And if there's a late run to pit road, drivers not able to economize, it could put these 2 cagey veterans very much in the thick of things because they stopped comfortably, able to get to the finish here today. A lot of it has to do with how you tune the motor, what kind of jetting you have in the carburetor, what kind of cam you're using, basically whether you set up for a fuel mileage run or not. Decker again to the inside of Cozy, still can't get by him.
Put Donnie Corellis in that group of 7. There are now 8 people who all pitted on lap 94. Higbee, running 9th, pitted on lap 110.
So he's all set. 90 miles is all he needs to go.
One of these fellows will go the distance.
Oh, yeah, no question about that.
maybe all of them. We'll see.
Good run for Jerry Higbee. He's put himself in position to contend here, depending on what happens over the last 5 laps. But that's where we are. 5 miles remain.
Alan Johnson, Kenny Tremont, Frank Cozy, Billy Decker, and Steve Poirier. Top 5. Decker's right on the back bumper of Cozy.
4 miles to go this time by.
Decker went a little loose there.
Decker in the 91 car.
Nothing quite like it. Is there 4 laps to go?
No. Great show as always here in the Eckerd 200. There's Poirier in the purple and white 28 car out of Quebec. Running in 5th. We're being told this is the best ever run here at the Eckerd 200 by a French-Canadian driver.
Trying to get Decker, who's gone a little, seems to have gone a little loose.
Pete McNell, of course, from Ontario, has won the 358 race 5 times. No Canadian has ever won the Eckerd 200. Poirier giving it a good run, though, here today. There's Poirier in the 28. Continues to run behind Decker and Cozy in 5th. Johnson still leads. 1.1 seconds the gap last time by, and he'll get 2 to go when he comes to the flag stand this time.
We have the race scanner on Alan Johnson. Let's see if there's any conversation at all. Out of turn 4 and down the front straightaway.
There, Al. 2 laps to go here.
Fingers crossed, toes crossed.
Baby it, Al. Baby it, buddy.
AJ Slideways being told to baby it. Kenny Tremont 1.2 seconds back in 2nd. White flag this time by.
Calling it a 6-car length lead. It might be just a little bit more than that. Down the front straightaway, accepting the white flag is Alan Johnson.
White flag, Bob. White flag, Bob. Come on, Alan. Nice and easy.
Safely into turn 1.
Just baby it around.
The EJM crew watching. There's Tremont running 2nd.
Smooth out of turn 2 is Alan Johnson.
Come on, you're halfway home. Let's
Alan
go.
Johnson turned 46 years old last week. He won the Eckerd 200 in '83, won it again in '89, and a bid for 2003. Out of turn 4 and down the front straightaway, the veteran Alan Johnson running it down the front straightaway. Alan Johnson is the winner of the Eckerd 200.
You guys did it. You're the best, Al. You're the best.
His 3rd win.
This is the Daytona 500 of modified racing, and Alan Johnson wins for the 3rd time.
Down to Mark Kenyon.
Got it. I'm down here in victory lane. I'll tell you what, it's a madhouse. Randy Kosaki, they're hugging. Randy, let me get in here. The guys are going nuts. Guys, they work so hard for this. This Elaine James Motorsports, Jim Beachy team, Beachy Equipment. Randy, I got some good news for you, too. You just won the biggest race in dirt modified racing, and you also clinched the point title.
I'll tell you, today couldn't have gone any better. I guess, you know, you need a little bit of luck. We played the fuel mileage and the tire game right to the limit. Alan kind of got burnt on the tire deal yesterday, so we decided to risk it the other way, and it worked out perfect. The weather held off. It was fantastic.
How close were you? You had the calculator out. How much fuel do you think's left in that car?
We were banking on the yellows there. I can't believe there's more than a gallon left. I mean, it's very close.
Back up to you guys.
Wow.
Alan Johnson, his 3rd win, the Eckerd 200 here in Syracuse, and he's a mighty happy guy. Down to victory lane when we come back after this timeout. Back at the New York State Fairgrounds, Alan Johnson is the winner of the Eckerd 200, and we're going down to victory lane.
Alan Johnson on the roof of the car. Thumbs up to the crowd. Pouring rain. Randy Kosaki up there with him. Now Jim Beachy on the roof of the car. We're going to see how just much as the modified roofs can hold. Beachy pumps his fist into the air. He's worked so hard for this. Let me get him down here. Alan. Let me get him down here. Alan. I'll tell you what, you can't even break into this moment. It's unbelievable. They work so hard. Beachy's down here. Let me see if I can get Alan. Jim Beachy, unbelievable.
Absolutely unbelievable. Our team worked so hard, so long, and praying for this day, and they stuck together with a driver. We stuck together with our team, and our team is the best. Dirt Motorsports ever had, and we're proud of it. Yes!
Ton of emotion here. Alan, let me get in here. I know this is very emotional. The last time you won this race was you started dead last. What were you thinking about with that last lap? Were you worried about fuel?
Oh, yeah, you know, you're always worried about fuel here. We pitted a little earlier than we all wanted to, but, you know, everybody pits at the same time, and if you don't pit, you're stuck behind them, so you have to gamble.
Were you at all worried or thinking the rain was coming or no?
Well, I didn't know, you know, I could see the clouds coming, and, you know, they were telling me the weather report that down the road at little ways it was raining. You know, there was nothing I could do. It was a tough deal to pass anybody, so I just had to conserve my tires and conserve my fuel.
Is this the biggest win in terms of even your other Syracuse one? Does this one mean more?
Well, this is a great one. You know, they were all great. You know, I cherish every one of them, but, you know, I'm just glad for the crew on this one because they wanted this one in the worst way, and I'm just glad I could get it for them.
Where are you going from here?
Well, I guess I'm invited to Eckerd. I haven't been invited there in the past, but I guess I am now. I guess I'm going there.
Alan Johnson going to Eckerd's.
The winner in 83, 89, and now 03 won his 400th overall career dirt feature, a big block and small blocks last month. He clinches Mr. Dirt for the 4th time, worth about $60,000. And there's another big story here, in my opinion. That's Jim Beechey.
Yeah, the Beechey team, they returned to racing in 1997. Jim had last won this race 20 years ago. 1984 with Jack Johnson as his driver, as you mentioned earlier, and it's a terrific combination. Obviously, Jim Beechey and his bunch put together great race cars. They provide top flight equipment to Alan Johnson, and he knows what to do with it. He showed how here today. They had the mileage work perfectly, and a great win for Alan Johnson.
Kenny Tremont won it in 99, finished second this year and second in 01. Let's go down to Andy Fusco. Andy?
Kenny Tremont, you made that real early stop for gas, lost track position, went a lap down. What were you thinking then?
Well, you know, I was just a little bit scared of all that dust. I couldn't see. I said, I'm not going to run in the middle of this mess and get wrecked. You know, then our whole day would have been over early. You know, I just figured if we go a lap down, we'll just get the best we can out of this mess. So, you know, we just figured we were last anyhow. We'll come in and top off, and then we kind of figured we'd go a lap down doing that. But we figured if we had a full tank of gas, we'd run as long as we needed to get our lap back. And so that worked out good. The guys did a good job there. And this track position, you know, we had a real good pit the second time we pitted and made up some track position there. And we passed a few cars, so it all worked out.
A lot of people have cried the blues about Troyer cars this year. You got a Troyer car that goes pretty good at Syracuse, don't you?
Well, we sure do. All year at Lebanon, we've had a good car. And this is a copy of the car that we had so much success with. We won the race here in '99 with it, and I think we ended up winning like 51 races at Lebanon with it. So, you know, I know, you know what to move and when to move it, I guess.
Well, that's good news, and it's good news for the Billy Colton and Troyer people as well. Kenny Tremont, you always get the job done here in Syracuse. This year, no exception.
Thank you.
Yeah, it's good to see success for Kenny Tremont, and
absolutely,
what a great driver. How about the top 10?
Let's take a look. Johnson, your winner. Tremont second. Cozy, Billy Decker, and Steve Poirier, the top 5. Second 5, Kenny Brightfield. Bob McCready with a run to 7th. Donnie Carellis, Jerry Higbee. Steve Payne looked like a contender for a while. He comes home in 10th spot here today.
Red Hearn, Ballou, Decker, the others. Alan Johnson, just the 4th driver to win the Eckerd 200 for a 3rd time. Congratulations to A.J. Slideways. Alan Johnson, the winner of the 2003 Eckerd 200. My thanks to Kevin Kovac and Tom Skabinski. For Rick Benjamin, Andy Fusco, and Mark Kenyon, and the entire Super Dirt Week crew, this is Del Logan saying thank you for joining us in Syracuse, New York, and so long for now.